Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking an Easter wreath found at the thrift store for $1.99. We're making this over and it's going to be absolutely beautiful. So I hope you can join me. This was from a community thrift store that we have. It's not too far away from my home. Okay, it's a little messy, so I have it in this plastic. And this was $1.99, and it's all these cute little eggs and this lovely wreath. And there's tons of potential here. $1.99. It is kind of messy, like I said. I'm going to give it a good, I'd like to take these eggs off, see if they'll come off. They're either on picks or they feel like they're really glued in tight. But this is going to get some kind of a makeover. Not sure exactly what, but it was $1.99. I'm absolutely loving this. A little messy, but very cute. So I'm going to attempt to take this wreath apart. I would like to repaint these eggs and reinvent this wreath. Unless seeing how it's coming apart, doesn't look too bad. Okay, so here is our color, our Antoinette inspired. We're going with this color palette. I want to see if these, if I can make this wreath in my Annie Sloan colors. I'm going to repaint all the eggs that we just pulled out. So here's my Antoinette is pink inspired. Here's our Scandinavian pink inspired. And this is the purple Emile. And here is our green Lem, I believe. And so this is the color inspiration right here for what we're going to do to the wreath. And see how it goes. So I've decided the same thing with these. This is Scandinavian pink, and I've decided to do the same, lighten up this paint because it's just a little bit darker than our inspiration. Here's our eggs, and they're just a little bit darker. With the gold leaf, they will, I'm assuming that will kind of brighten things up in that, but they do look a little dark right now. So I'm just kind of darkening this or lightening this up a little, and we'll see how that goes, if it works. So our paint has dried and I've been gold leafing some eggs. I saved a few so I could show you how I did this. So I have gold leaf that I just bought at the craft store. This is, this is just, comes in a pack, and it's very fragile. And I'm not using this is still the expensive stuff because gold leaf is expensive, but it's not, this isn't like 14 karat or 18 karat gold leaf. This is just the pack as I bought. I don't know. I've had this for maybe 3 or 4 years. I've used it for different things, and it comes in this pad, okay, and they're all attached together at the top, and I'm just gonna peel off what I need, and we're going to be doing a few eggs. So I've got one sheet, and what I will say is you want to be careful. This is very, it does fly away, and it is gold leaf. Even if it's not real gold, it's still really special. So I'm going to cut this into 4s, okay? And you're going to use every scrap of this, and you don't want to waste it. So I took one sheet and I cut it in 4 pieces, okay? And I have my eggs, and you guys remember these eggs were just really leaving little to be desired. So we're making them into something beautiful. You can see they're still the original egg. I didn't take all this moss off because I'm reusing everything that I had. So this is a little bit of a sea sponge, and I just broke off a little piece. I got it wet and squeezed out absolutely all the water and wrung it in a paper towel so it was just barely damp to be pliable, and it's still got some of the glue in there. If you do not have a sea sponge, use just a little bit of tissue or paper towel if you want something really delicate that that is small, because your gold leaf sizing, it's like glue, and you don't want to use it sparingly because it too can be kind of pricey. And so I'm just barely dabbing this on, okay, just barely, and this gold leaf is going to make all of the imperfections of this egg melt away. And we're going to put this back in the same wreath. All of this is going to disappear, and we're going to cover with some of that original moss from the wreath. And so when you put this on, you can see it's kind of clear, a little, it has a little bit of a purple hue to it. Follow your manufacturer's instructions for your particular gold leaf. And I'm just putting this all over my eggs, as much or as little as you want. And this block of styrofoam from the Dollar Tree has been great. This is what I held my eggs in when I painted with the little picks. These were the existing picks, and of course, like I said, all of the imperfections are just going to melt away when we put this together. Okay, this is a good example of seeing how that sizing has a different color tone to it. And if you don't have a sea sponge, and you could use tissue, you could also use a piece of any type of sponge and, just rip it, tear it so that it's soft and there are no hard edges. And you could use, I'm sure you could find a lot of things around that you could use, but you don't have to have the sea sponge, okay? Any kind of just little fine bits of tissue, but you don't want much, because like I said, you don't want it all to absorb into your paper towel or your tissue. Then you have no sizing left to put on your eggs. So our sizing is on there. And as soon as that sizing starts to get tacky or clear, starting to get a little tacky, we're going to take one of our gold foil sheets, still on the paper, and anywhere where that sizing is, your gold leaf is going to stick, okay? And I used about a sheet, a quarter of a sheet for each egg, give or take, and we're just going to start to put that on there and just kind of rub it around. And we're going to take just a pre-crumpled piece of tissue, paper towel. I didn't use a paintbrush or anything with this. I've done gold leafing on other types of things, but on these eggs, we're not going for perfection. We're just wanting to get that gold leaf on there and there are still spots on the egg where it is tacky, and I'm just rolling that egg using this nice little handle and just rolling that around and getting my gold leaf onto my egg. If I had a spot where I wanted more gold leaf, and I could just go back and get more sizing and just put that liquid on and let it get tacky and go back and reapply more. So this is burnishing our gold leaf onto our egg. This is not at all how you would do a picture frame or a fine piece of furniture or whatever that you would be gold leafing. But this is how I'm doing these eggs. So there's our egg. Okay. We're going to take this sheet and just start to use every bit of everything that you can grab. This is a sheet I used previously, and you just want to get that leaf on there. Nothing neat about this. Make sure you have your heat turned off and you don't have a fan. Any blowing air, not a good thing when you're doing this. So it's a little chilly in here because I don't have the heat on, but that's not affecting my egg. It's just kind of keeping the mess contained. I thought about going outside with this, but it is chilly. And that, any little bit of breeze is going to grab your gold leaf and your paper and all of your little foil, your little bits of this leaf, and it's just going to take it away in the wind. So it is kind of nice to do this in a controlled environment. And there you go. Okay, there's a little spot of my original paint color showing through, so I'm just going to put a little bit of gold leaf on there, and I'll let that get tacky. And here's our egg with the little spot that we could see there that was showing through. It just disappeared. So that's all there is to it. That is gold leafing an Easter egg. So we're going to actually start construction of putting these eggs and, putting these eggs to this wreath. I have a piece of my construction paper that I have rolled out on my table that I just cut into a large rectangle, and just to this is kind of like, I don't know, I've been kind of calling this my paint buddy. It's just a piece of the paper, and I pinched in all the four corners and put a little staple, and then just turn it, fold this over and give it a staple just to hold my eggs in one place, and then this will be disposable when we're done. I thought about putting them in, what could I put them in? Well, this just works for me. So here's our wreath. And again, I know that this looks a little scary right now. There's big toothpicks sticking off of our wreath. We're working with everything that was here. These are the original eggs, and I am assuring you that this wreath is going to be beautiful when it's done. And we started with our $1.99 wreath. I just have a few basic supplies, some pliers, wire cutters, scissors, extra wire, extra toothpicks, and my hot glue gun, my stapler that we don't need anymore. We have some extra glue sticks, a little trash, and a drink of water. So we're just going to start placing these eggs. And keeping in mind, this is the top of our wreath, and I'm just keeping that centered on, top of the table at 12 o'clock. So I want to just kind of loosely put these in place. I played with this a little bit, and we're just going to see what works, and then we'll go back and we can move them around. So this is just going to be see how it goes. Okay, so I think that this looks pretty good. I would like to, the bow also, again, the bow is going to be up here, so I'm going to kind of maybe just start at the bottom. It looks like we're doing pretty good. We've got about 5 eggs left. They do look a little small, but we can always just fudge it a little and, so I'm going to start gluing. Okay, so I'm going to start gluing these in place. I'm just going to start at the bottom because I really like how this is looking. We have a little bit of eggs left that we can, kind of work, and maybe I'll just be aware and space things a little accordingly. So again, our original not so pretty stuff on the bottom is going to be beautiful, and it's going to look lovely when we're done. Remember these white hen eggs? Well, here's a couple. I did paint, I tried sticking a toothpick in the end, and they're plastic, so they're not as easy to stick a little toothpick in as these. So I painted a couple of them because it looks like we're going to have to just fudge it together here. And luckily I painted half of a pink one and I painted half of one green, and they're not that easy to hold on to, to paint, because you have to hold on to it. So anyway, these are just two that I had, 2 extra hen eggs. Had to show you, you just got to make it work, and that's what I'm doing here. So just to finish this off, and these are going to be under the bow, and I'll cover it up and they'll just kind of, hopefully they'll disappear. We have 2 little eggs left, and there's a little space here and a little space over here. So maybe we'll I'm going to go grab my ribbon and some more moss so that we can fill this in and finish it off. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stuff some moss in some of these little holes here, and just stuff it in there. So I think that looks pretty good, and I've got some ribbon here. This is like a burlap with a little bit of gold in there. It's a little different than our inspiration ribbon, but I think this wreath needs something really beautiful. So we could do the bow at the top, which I think would be really nice. It could go off on the sides or at the bottom, but I'm thinking maybe at the top would be nice for this wreath. So I'm just using 26 gauge wire. You know, it's very pliable, soft. It's not too hard to work with at all. And that's my favorite. Whoops. So that's my favorite ribbon to use for this type of thing. I already have a hanger, so I don't need anything super heavy. And we're going to cover these eggs up. Maybe we don't. I don't think we're even going to have to put any foil on them. So I'm just going to wrap this ribbon around and then start to fuss after I get it. So there's the top. Okay, so there's the center. this could kind of, be tucked in and then made these nice tails with. I think I'm just going to have them hang straight down. These eggs are, once again, chalk painted, and they're really kind of not exactly made to withstand the elements outside. So I'm just going to leave this in the house. It'll be beautiful, and I'm going to get this styled up nicely, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so here is our egg garland. Was the inspiration for this from Home Goods again for $12.99. I've got my little gold leaf bunny there. That was one of my first videos, you guys, and it's still holding up, and I just absolutely love that little project. Check that out if you're if you're interested in another gold leafing project. And again, that one I did kind of on the fly and totally didn't really do that the way you're supposed to either. But anyways, this is just a little faux fireplace. It was a fun little project my husband and I did. And I just kind of threw some things up there. A little piece of a pottery tile that is from a local Michigan company that's been around for 100 years or more. And importantly, here is our beautiful wreath that we did together. I hope I inspired you guys to make something out of something that was not so desirable, or maybe your taste has changed. This was just a fun project and something that you can see me there in the mirror. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. And this was just really a fun project and a fun little area that, something that I love decorating. This little area changes from time to time. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe, check back and see what's going on over here. This is, from my thrifted video, and I had a few little home goods things and thrift haul, home goods, estate sale, all of that. Actually, that lantern in my fireplace, just an FYI for anybody who held on, that is something that I believe is out there on the market for sale. I bought that at a little, not really an antique store, but like a resale shop, and I just love it. It's got to be 2 feet tall. It's really something that I treasure. It goes all around different places. And thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and like I said, I hope I inspired you to tear something apart and make something new again. Gold leaf is fun, and you don't have to, overthink it, really. You saw how quick this went together. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day.